Hello friends and welcome to Trackmania Grand League once again. We are here, my name is TM Scotsman, I am your host once again for today. This is step 5 we're going to be having of season 2 of Trackmania Grand League, and we have a hell of a week's worth of maps, tracks, players and hopefully some interesting points throughout today's shenanigans of Trackmania Grand League. But nevertheless, welcome everyone. I hope you're all doing fantastically as we get ready to go for step number 5. It does say that it's an alive step at the moment, but not to worry. Now this is just the players having their warm-up stage still, so everything's all good in the hood. We are due to go underway in just about 12 or 13 minutes time. If you want to synchronise your clocks, your watches, your phone clock, just to make sure that you are on time, the snacks are ready, the drinks are on hand. But nevertheless, I hope everyone has had a fantastic weekend so far, and everyone is ready to join me in the support of the team today, and of course evoN. And to start off with, reminding you guys, of course, if you do want to support evoN, type Go evoN in the chat, just as SRK and Raveout have done there, and hopefully we'll see some hearts and we'll hear the crowd chanting the poll's name. Having spoke to the man himself just a little bit earlier, is saying he's feeling confident again today, however has not had as much time to concentrate on these maps within the last week or so. However, we will hopefully still be seeing a good performance again, and we are of course at step 5 out of 6. That means essentially this is the penultimate chance to get yourself into the playoffs, and for those who are maybe not familiar with how the league standing works, this is the league phase as you can see, and top 8 will proceed forward into the playoffs. Bottom 8 will go into the Combine to fight for their survival in Trackmania Grand League. And at the moment, those in the Combine are Matt, Riolu, Bren, Yannex, Tween, evoN, Aurel and Scrappy. Scrappy at top and 9th position with 60 points. And at the bottom in the playoffs stage phase, and the playoff positions, I suppose you should say, are Kappa, Massa, Spam, Afi, Gwen, Papu, Pack and Carl Jr. Statistically, I would say the only ones safe are in the top 5 here at the moment. Maybe someone like Spam might find himself in the easy side of things. So, thank you very much SRK for posting Trackmania.io, where you will be able to see the times and the records being driven by some of these players if you are interested in seeing how much effort these guys have put into these tracks and how that effort is translating to on-track performance. We are having 2 maps removed, of course, as is the same with every week. We will have 2 new maps, one of which you are seeing currently on track, Glacier hiking, the other one being called Dune. However, both tracks which are rather technical here, as you're seeing, of course, Aurel taking us through Glacier hiking here. Very technical maps are both of them, very tricky maps, and we will also see some mistakes coming out here. We saw the maps last week were ones that the players maybe began to figure out a little bit more here. I would say these maps are definitely going to be ones that players will struggle a little bit more on, and hopefully we'll be seeing more mistakes, more action and more chaos coming in as everyone goes wild for some unknown reason, and the crowd deafens us and he starts shouting. Right, come on, enough, there we go. Yeah, the crowd's really loud in this, but unfortunately their kind of volume is not really able to be changed, which is absolutely fantastic. But exactly right there, it's also as if SRK is replacing Mr. Holdall as the man for the stats, the man with the plan. So all maps currently within this evoN has finished in the top 8, and last week did get a decent points haul of, I believe it was 17 points coming home from last week's efforts. However, had lost quite a bit of points on map 5 and definitely has a lot of potential on the maps which will be on display here. Has had good performances, but as I said, is not feeling like he's been able to put in as much time as was necessary. However, still states that he is feeling confident, feels like he's well prepared, and hopefully we'll see a good performance from the man. This is also Dune, one of the other new maps. Definitely a faster map, it must be said, however still as technical, and with another reactor boost identity, surprise surprise. But these are the 2 maps which you've just seen, which we do expect the players to be the best prepared on, as of course the last 2 maps will be the most hotly contested. Now, for any of those which are not familiar with the Trackmania Grand League format, I know some of you guys are maybe coming from Team Secret's support ranks, and of course some who may not just be familiar with Trackmania Grand League overall. I'll give you guys a bit of an overview. So, Trackmania Grand League is played across 6 maps here. You'll see either on the top of your screen or on the top left the map number, so this would be of course map 1 out of 6 we'd be starting on. There will be 6 laps on each of the 6 maps, and you will be able to gain the same amount of points in each map. Of course, points depending on which positions you finish in, and also points depending on if you manage to get the fastest lap or not. Of course, that will only go to one driver. Also, the first 2 maps of which are played, you will be able to keep and bank any of the points you have managed to obtain so far. However, on maps 3 and 4, you will lose 50% of your points banked to that point if you do finish in the bottom 8. So that is positions 9 down to 16, which will be marked in red on the left-hand side of your screen. And of course, lastly, maps 5 and 6, you will lose all of your points banked up until that section. Of course, so any points gathered throughout maps 1 through to 4, or of course map 5 if you do fail in map 6. So maps 5 out of 6, all of them will be going down the toilet if you finish in the bottom 8. So that is when push really comes to shove, and when it's squeaky bum time, I suppose, as they used to say in football. However, we will be going live, as I said, in just over 5 minutes here. This is Dune. Also utilising quite a lot of reactor boost in different surfaces here is this map. You can see this long grass section with reactor boost to keep the players with all wheels on track. A little bit more of an open map is this. However, the identity has been catching a few players out in the practice sessions, and of course it does seem to be one of the ones which might look a little bit more simple. I mean, I suppose it's almost like a wipeout game nowadays for any of those who are boomers like me to remember that game. Flying around using some grass slides, some reactor boosts, abusing the little physics tricks of the game. And we'll see who will be the best prepared on these maps and who will be able to bring home the best points. Am I taking that fixed stores to mean that you do not entirely approve of the format, perhaps? Has definitely been a controversial format, has Trackmania Grand League. I mean, we know it's Trackmania Grand League time when you do see the conversations being stoked online about point systems and such, but at least it always keeps us watching. Or maybe you guys all come for me, who knows? Yeah, we've talked, it's been gone over at length, I can assure you. It's almost like a game show, you know, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where you need to watch to the end. You need to watch to the end in case all of that good work's just been wiped out in a single fell swoop. I can tell you one thing though, it's certainly easier watching these situations unfold than it is playing and having them unfold and losing all of these points. I can definitely assure you of that. But a reminder for you guys, as we do get into our final 5-minute countdown here, type TMGL as you see in the top right corner of your screen in your chat if you want to see the crowd chanting TMGL's name, if you want to see some hearts, you want to see some support for our man. I have no idea who they're chanting for now, but anyway, TMGL's in the chat for a man. But of course, having spoken to him, he does of course rewatch all of the VODs. You will hear he does very much appreciate all the support he gets from you guys, giving him the motivation to get these fantastic results, which he did manage to get last week and hopefully are going to be contained in this week's and next week's. This is essentially coming down into the final shot at Trackmania Grand League Season 2. Of course, last chance saloon for those who do want to get themselves into the playoff stages. Of course, top 8 is required, and as you can see, this is the current league standings here at the moment. So I'd say everyone really in the top 13's in with a chance. If you get a really good step, that can turn the entire scoreboard on its head. We've seen people getting as much as 100 points in one step, so you can see really anyone is capable of qualifying, but the likes of Bren, Rielu and Matt just really haven't had the kind of level we'd be expecting so far this season. However, we've seen flashes of brilliance from the other players, so let's see what everyone's going to be capable of on week number 5. The dates for the following tournaments, of course, which will be the Trackmania World Championships, or World Cup, sorry, TMWC, are announced for, I believe it's late on this year, and also the next season of Trackmania Grand League for early on next year. The question is who's going to be participating in next season of Trackmania Grand League, of course. 2 spots are open depending on who manages to perform in the Combine, and we're seeing some very, very strong challenges from Open Grand League this season, namely the likes of Mada, Chalik, Default, Grenade, certainly names which we might be seeing being represented by some of these orgs in future, but nevertheless, as I said, a few minutes and then we will get underway. Let us know what kind of predictions you guys have for who's going to perform here, who's going to disappoint, who's going to excel, who's going to have the biggest points loss. Let me know. I'll give you some random odds on it. We'll put some good old-fashioned coppers on the table. But to give you guys an idea of the map order just before we get underway, our first 2 maps will be Paradise, which TMGL does have the world record on. Cyclone second, the one of which we saw Massa having that massive fail at the ending. The semi-final maps will be Circles and Bumpy Jumpy. And the final maps will be Glacier Hiking, which we did just see just before this, and Dune. Top 3 prediction, the only one we've got so far is Kappa. Kappa first, Afi second, and TMGL third. Interesting, SRK. I'd certainly want to see some new faces getting in some really top points here. I'm expecting the likes of perhaps TMGL, Tween, Yannex to be really putting in the extra effort. However, also having the extra pressure coming into this stage, as they know that there's only this week and the next. But let's see what everyone has in store for us. Only a minute or 2 until we get underway. The pre-match warm-up is what we are seeing, of course, so not to worry, it is not a live step. Nevertheless, so we've seen before, of course, some players opting to go for different approaches in training for these maps. We've seen some players opting to focus a little bit on all of the maps to be able to net themselves a big head of steam and a big lot of points going into the later stages. However, also some players which choose to almost exclusively focus on the last 2 or 3 maps to be able to net themselves as much points and as much of a chance to keep those points. So we will see what the players' tactics have then played into whose hands here, but let's get some go TMGLs in the chat, guys. Let's see some hearts coming out for a man. We will be going underway in relatively shortly, so not to worry for those who are getting ants in their pants. Just have a little bit of a warm-up to go, and we have 1 minute left. I believe this is the official warm-up just starting here. Paradise will be our map number 1, and it will be where Trackmania Grand League Step 5 starts. So Team Secret goes into Step 5, of course, as you see, in 11th position here on 42 points. So that means they are 29 points away from safety, with Kappa being the closest man able to be challenged for the 8th position. However, we've seen that this format can prove, with many surprises here, can throw many people's dreams out the window. Hopefully that will be in favour of us instead of out of favour with us, but let's hope we don't have the same issues as last week, players disconnecting. I believe Yannex had troubles with his connection last time, some players not starting on time. I suppose the map, if we remember correctly, of course TMGL did have world record on. However, having been such a fast player on this map, maybe a little bit too much pressure coming onto that, and did end up making a lot of mistakes here and finding themselves losing points here on arguably one of the most kind of crucial stages of that, having went into this map actually in the lead in the step at the time of last week, if we do remember correctly. If we cast our memory back to the foggy distance of last week. Nevertheless, welcome all. I hope you're ready for Trackmania Grand League to get underway here. And we will be starting on Paradise here with its funky ice identity. You'll see some players opting for some different approaches here. Some opting just for a kind of long slide here. Some opting for a little bit of an alley-oop to make sure they get their wheels straightened up, shake the ice off their tyres, and get the grip back going. be at least an interesting map to see who manages to avoid the mistakes here. It is one which we've seen the players being able to be relatively consistent through the identity, but of course as your players do end up focusing that much more on the identity, it can result in some people not feeling as comfortable going into the actual track itself. We've seen that before, and that's what happens when you have an identity heavy map. You need to practice all of the track, guys. And something, eat your vitamins and say your prayers. Forgetting, of course, this is not 80s wrestling, but as if we are a tiny bit behind schedule, I'm just going to take a quick look you see here at the Discord. It looks as if no information is posted as of yet, so someone slept in. The clock's running past, the alarms failed. Who are we going to be angry at, guys? Pitchforks out. I suppose it allows the players a little bit more time to warm up. Any last minute toilet breaks for those who forgot to go. Match is starting though, there we go. 5 seconds, come back. Not got enough time anymore. Because we are about to get underway here. We're going to start off with Step 5. We're going to start off with evoN of Team Secret. In the journey, hopefully to the playoffs, of course. Let me see the evoNs in chat to get started off for step number 5 here, and let's see if today is going to get off to a good start. Here we go though, so as we said, we will start off on Paradise here. It is going to be map number 1 of step number 5 of Season 2. We'll have a short warm-up, I believe, of 1.5 minutes. Allow the players a full lap of the track, a full go at the identity here, so they can get themselves good and ready. Time to go. Once again, the beautiful in-house designed Team Secret car skin being rocked and driven in style, of course. However, we've definitely seen a lot of ups and downs on this track. This is the last week which this map will be featured. We've seen some dreams crushed, namely ours, last week. But let's see what this week holds in store for us. The players have had the maximum amount of time to train this map. As we said, it's the last week it's going to be involved. However, it also means as it's one of the first 2 maps that the players may not have prioritised this map as much. They have taken it a little bit easy, perhaps. Just want to rely upon the practice they had built up until that point. Focus on the new maps, perhaps. 30 seconds left. And we'll see a little bit of difference in line coming out from the players, going for inside and outside lines through that little section, and also coming through the identity as we have just spoken about before. A lovely execution there from pretty much everyone. Everyone's warmed up and ready to go despite ice being all over the circuit. They must have their gloves and their slippers on, I certainly know I do. But the end of the warm-up is here and the opening phase is starting with map number 1. Let's see what kind of a start we get off to today. Of course, last week it was a crash within the first half of the lap, so let's certainly hope we get past that marker. That's going to be our first victory of today, I do not doubt. Let's get the evoNs going, guys. This is the time we will see the hearts showing up. We will see the crowd, or hear the crowd cheering his name. That's the goal for today. Let's get it going with the evoNs in chat. As he survives the first half of the lap, guys, it's all going to be uphill from here, not to worry. No big mistakes coming out so far from any of the players. A little bit of wiggles there on the dirt to get yourself a little bit of speed. And we're seeing everyone getting through squeaky clean. Massa there having a little bit of an issue coming through the middle of the pack as Afi's the first to fall down a little bit here. And also evoN and Aurelio finding themselves at the tail of the pack here. Gwen, one of the only players to go for the inside line there, but Pack going through the tech turn does make a mistake. We are disappointed. So Pack and Afi, 2 high flyers in the overall point standings, are the first to find themselves at the ass end of the field. Some players there, Kappa, Papu, going for a little bit of an alley-oop there, but who's that falling down? That's Aurel and Gwen. Also Kappa having an issue. Oh, evoN survives by the skin of his teeth there. We're seeing bodies falling. The kill count of Paradise is increasing day by day. A little bit of a shaky start to lap number 2 there for evoN. Gwen was in the lead for most of lap 1, however is finding himself all the way down in 8th position. It sees there's some players already finding themselves quite far behind here. Pack definitely had a great recovery, but Massa's going to have an even better one. He clips the little ledge there and he falls all the way down here. Spam, Papu, Kappa and Afi to join him for company, but this is going to be a lot of time needed to recover for all of these players if they're going to get any worthwhile points. These are a lot of players who are going to be a little bit on the edge, specifically Massa and Kappa. We'll be wanting some good points here. Let's go to the head of this kind of chasing pack. We have Tween, Matt and Yannex actually in this 3-man battle here for 9th position. You see evoN actually up to 7th position there. You can see all the positions on the left hand side of your screen. See this 3-man battle trying to hunt down Riolu up here in 8th position. He goes for the alley-oop, he makes it through cleanly, trying to hunt down evoN here, but both players actually looking to overtake Bren there, and also Scrappy trying to get his nose in things, but Riolu falls all the way down. He's going to be the next to make a mistake, and you see evoN running into the distance. He's running away from Aurel and Bren. Kameto Corp and Gaming Priv trying to catch up a little bit here, but this is a great result so far for evoN. 3rd place here, chasing down Carl Jr. and Pack. Most symbolic duo, I suppose you would say, of Trackmania's recent history. Traded World Championships between them, of course, former teammates. The closest of rivals, one must say. evoN certainly not getting blown away by any stretch of the imagination. Is a very strong player on this map in his own right, and keeping them within arm's length here in 3rd position so far. Let's check out the closing pack. We've got 3 men here. We've got Aurel, Scrappy and Bren, as we did check out just previously. All going for this outside line. You want to maximise your speed through this section as much as possible, as the engine has been killed. But let's also check out this fight up at the top here between Carl Jr. and Pack. As side by side. They're equal going through some checkpoints, and also with only a few hundreds of a difference, but Pack really going for a lot of speed there, and Carl Jr. is now on the back foot going into the last half of this map and finds himself being left in the dust here. evoN also struggling to keep up, but certainly I would struggle to keep up against opposition like this, as is everyone it seems. Let's go through the pack here. We see Papu and Afi all the way down in the bottom 2 positions. Seeing a little bit of a 2-horse battle here between Yannex and Matt, but they're fighting over pennies. A little bit of a group forming back here within the next 2 to 3 seconds. We've got Massa, we've got Gwen, Riolu, Spam, and also a big group here. Bren, Scrappy, Tween, Aurel, all part of the secret team train here. evoN is the conductor. He is going full steam ahead at the moment. You're going to have to pay your fare or get kicked straight off. It's still a close fight up here at the top, but final podium position is looking good for the secret. Lovely section there by evoN, maximising speed going through there. Will be able to keep good momentum. As we've said, a few different approaches you can take through there. Aurel having to back off a little bit there just in front, we saw. As if everyone got through there cleanly. I think that was Gwen actually trying to risk through there a little bit. However, does not pay off. We go into map number 5 out of 6 though, the penultimate lap for the penultimate step here. Map number 1 is looking good so far for Pack, Carl Jr. and evoN here. Pack currently with the fastest lap, a 1:23.529. And we're seeing here at the moment also Gwen and Spam attaching themselves onto this little group here, so the battle is not yet fully fought. It was not over. There is still some to fight here. Gameward, Lazarus, Pittsburgh Knights, Gaming Priv, Alliance, Team Secret. Some big names of the esports scene here. At the moment you can see here there's a little bit of an island forming. In front you've got Carl Jr. chasing down Pack here, but 7/10 of a second behind. You've got evoN about another 2 seconds behind Carl Jr. here. And you've got Aurel, perhaps a full second clear of evoN here at the moment. So perhaps in evoN's case you will be trying to take it a little bit easy here. He's now consolidated a good level of points here, so it is going to be all about keeping those points. Oh, I'm seeing someone drop all the way down. I think that's Aurel having some issues. Some players are falling. Some hopes are getting ruined, and Tween is going to have his going straight down the toilet. That was a massive mistake there. And it looks as if this gap up to evoN gets that little bit further as Aurel falls down a little bit here. Pack once again staying with the fastest laps. He's going to get maximum points for lap number 1. Oh, sorry, map number 1, pardon me. A little bit of a close fight happening just behind here. Ren and Aurel here trying to keep pace with Gwen here, trying whatever they can to catch up with evoN. There is no risk really here, no risk of points being lost, no points gained to be sacrificing at the moment, so it is all out to get as much momentum in map 1 and 2 as possible. And we are seeing Gwen hunting down and maybe catching evoN a little bit here. Gwen definitely a very capable player and a young prodigy, just as the same as evoN is. The battle of the prodigies, who's going to win, France or Poland? Gwen opting for the more risky inside line here. And you can see here he has a little bit less distance to travel, but evoN gets more speed by virtue of the line he takes. Might be able to survive for the remainder of this, but it's all going to come down into the final identity. Is Gwen going to have pushed enough to be catching up on evoN here, nearly clipping the inside and the outside as Gwen, but it's not going to be enough. Pack's going to take your first, Carl Jr. second, and evoN takes home third for a great start to step 5 for Team Secret here. Disappointing results so far for Tween, Riolu, Yannick, Afi and Papu here. Tween trying to creep into the finish there, but as we said, that's great points for all those up at the top here. And evoN finally getting the good performance that his pace warrants on Paradise, and things are looking up. That certainly deserves a few go evoNs in the chat, guys, don't you think? Let me see it, guys. Let me get some love hearts here on the scoreboard. We've done it before. We can do it again as we move on to map number 2, which is going to be Cyclone. This is the map where we did actually see evoN leading for quite a long time in this map, if I do remember correctly, and my memory is not yet failing me, ladies and gentlemen. We did see evoN leading here for, I believe, 4 laps it was, with a fastest lap as well. Managed to take 2 fastest laps last week, so certainly feeling very hot on these maps, and definitely with a lot of potential for a lot of points here. As we check out Cyclone here, we're going to have a looky see at what this map has to show for us. A little bit of a different kind of map. Normally it's been the identity has been the main kind of contention point. However, 2 big ice sections on this track. The first of which a long ice wall ride going into a big long left hand slide. And the last being the identity. Travelling down a big toilet bowl of ice. Being flushed into the lap restart. And here we go into the first of the difficult sections in this, and we'll see the players showing us what they've got. Players well practiced at this section. If you've watched any of their streams, of course, as evoN gives us a flip there, that's some style points. But you get the idea. Big long slide to the left. Let's see who's actually making it through cleanly. Massive. So, this is a map which we don't see players making as much mistakes on. However, will definitely catch you out if you're not paying attention. Although this is the top level of Trackmania, so definitely expect the very best here as we see Yannick's flying over the finish line upside down in style. That's what we like to see. 5 seconds left to go on Cyclone's warm-up, and we're about to get underway. Buckle up, guys, get your seat belts on. We are ready to go here. Where is he? Starting off with 12 points, of course. Let's see what potential points we have in store from Cyclone here. We'll of course be building up a good head of steam, a good amount of points in the map 1 and 2. That will give you a lot of risk going into the later maps, as you do have a lot of points able to be lost, but you keep a big amount of points here. Make this step your own. Keep the head cool, and you can be booking yourself a ticket to the playoffs. First time through this long slide here. Oh, evoN's got a lovely dismount here and moves up into the top 3 along with Spam and Matt. That was beautiful from all 3 players there, both shooting ahead. Are Spam and Matt very close to the outside there was evoN. I'm sure he flattened a few spectators there. All worthy in the hunt for points though. Not sure that will hold up in court, but luckily we don't need to worry about that here in Trackmania. First time into the identity here, and Spam has brought himself a little bit of a lead here. Matt having fallen back a little bit after a really well executed identity. Oh, I say that, we're going to call that the identity. evoN here fighting with Riolu in second. Both players who do need a lot of points. However, evoN going into this map with 12 and Riolu going into this map with 3. So definitely Riolu may be needing them a little bit more, but that does not mean we're going to give them up willingly. Going through this dirt section, we do see Bren and Massa getting a lot of speed. I think evoN had a little bit of a release there. Spam now going into this long slide with a big lead here. Who's going to be able to get through this? Fine. Oh, evoN makes a big mistake. He will stay on track here, but he's going to lose a lot of time and a lot of positions here, and all the way down. Only going to keep ahead of Scrappy and Carl Jr. It looks like Carl Jr. having an absolute nightmare here. Not sure what's going on for the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. However, maybe not looking that way just at the moment. But we do see here Matt having made it through so cleanly at the first time, is now finding himself being flushed down the toilet bowl, both in positions and on the track. Papu finding himself very far behind, and Riolu losing a lot of positions as we go out to check the battle up here at the top. Pack your points leader here. But as we've said and as we've been reminded in chat, map number 1 and 2 is about gaining momentum, getting a lot of points to be able to fight your way through and get a great chance of getting a ticket to the playoffs. However, map 3, 4, 5 and 6 is where it can all be lost. Oh, Bren now the one to be falling. He's going to be leaking positions here. Do you think he can catch up with them? Riolu's past Matt, and Papu even maybe passing. Oh, Matt doesn't look like he got it too well either. evoN going to overtake Scrappy here while they're fighting for pennies. At the moment though, it looks as if Massa, Tween and Yannick's are going to be the ones who are going to be up at the top here. Yannick's and Tween, also 2 players of which we've spoken about having needed a lot of points here. They're going into the second half here of map number 2. Just Cyclone, of course, said no danger in map 1 or 2. Any crashes will only be punished with points gained in this map, not points lost. So any fans of evoN's, which there should be quite a few of you here, I want to see you making your voices heard. Should not worry, of course. Spam here in 4th position so far. Was leading for a little bit of time here at the start, but having some issues. Oh, who's going to be coming off best for wear here? Is certainly not going to be Spam. We've seen so many people making that very same mistake. And how far down is he going to drop? Matt going a little bit of a loop there through the checkpoint. Afi also having massive issues. Bren here is, you know, probably a mile or so behind the closest opponent. We're seeing people falling left, right and centre through there. And we're seeing here the top 5 having survived. I wouldn't even say unscathed. This is just kind of the best of those who have survived so far. Tween currently with a 6/10 lead over Yannick's Massa, another 6/10 behind. Pack and Orel forming a little bit here of another train. Pittsburgh Knights are in the lead, and currently the fastest lap belongs to Bren here, who is in 9th position. Of course, if you are all the way down at the bottom, it can be beneficial to get yourself that fastest lap. 2 extra points might be the same amount of points you would end up getting for your final position, so I suppose some of them will be asking themselves, why not? Some solid points those for only made their fails early on, so we're seeing the likes of Bren and evoN making mistakes early on, however not being punished as much anymore as everyone else has crashed that little bit more. Relu makes a little bit of a mistake. Bren also with a slow dismount. Spam with a nightmare going through there. evoN manages to get off cleanly, but he's still being dominated there by Afi through that section. Everyone seems to be having issues with consistency through that section. However, that's not at all surprising, but we do go into the last map here with Slovakia's Tween in the lead. Pittsburgh Knights being represented well, at least in this map. Tween definitely had a lot of issues so far this season. Not really been the kind of level of performance we would have expected from a man who's so synonymous with the top positions in Trackmania. Was very unlucky not to get a great result at last season's playoffs. So seeing him struggling so much in Season 2 is a surprise. Bit of an unwelcome one at that, but old name struggling does mean that we have a chance for a few new names here, namely the likes of Afi performing very well so far this season. And of course the name on pretty much everyone's lips of Gwen, but look at this. Pack attack here. He's looking to overtake Tween, but he will scrub off a little bit of speed. Tween will be able to keep some coming through into this final section here. Both are some of the best tech players you will see, past, present or future, so let's see who's going to risk it the most coming through into this final section. It looks as if Pack's got it all under lock and key here, but is he going to get the best of the identity? Tween gets a little bit of a boost on a downhill and sneaks it at the end by 1/100 of a second. That was a beautiful ending there by Tween. Brings it there from the jaws of defeat, does Tween. Pack has to settle with second, and that was a beautiful ending. We do find evoN finishing, however, finishing in 12th position with 12 points there, so perfectly coordinated, so someone in the world's happy at the very least with that. But we will move on to map 3, and we will move on to the danger zones of points potentially being lost. But Carl Jr., for the first time in his entire participation, will not finish the map. What is this madness, ladies and gentlemen? evoN still finding himself 5th in the step overall. But here we now move on to, I believe the first map will be Circles, which you will see the identity being based upon these little sculptures you see ahead of you. Another good performance was had here previously by evoN on this map, if I do recall, to the best of my recollection. 1.5 minutes as always for the players to get warmed up on this track, for you guys to get warmed up on this track, so you know what to expect. A lot of surface changes here in this map. However, it is one of those which we've seen the players being a little bit more comfortable on. And let's go there, spurred on by player. Let's get some go evoNs, let's get some hearts coming up, let's get the crowd cheering his name. That's what we want, guys. I'm tired of hearing go Bren or Gwen or Ben or whoever even rhymes with that. That's what we want, guys. Map 3 out of 6 though. Players standing to lose the most, of course, by far is going to be Pack here, 36 points. So if he loses his points, that's going to be 18 going down the drain, which is nearly more than anyone else has at the moment. Only a few players at the 20 or over mark here, namely Tween, Gwen and Orel. I'm sure we'll be there momentarily, guys. Let's keep up the support. Showing off the identity here a little bit. Some low speed sections here, moving into some peculiar little structures here which some of you might not be familiar with. However, this is the second time we're of course seeing this map in circulation, so expect the players to still be very well prepared on this map. This is of course the danger phase, so I can guarantee none of the players will have been leaving this map as an afterthought. But let's see how evoN starts off on map number 3. This will conclude our first half of maps. Who's going to be going in with a smiley face? Who's going to be going in with a red unhappy emoji? Next off to a storming start here, already for a little bit of a short lead, only 25 seconds in, and Matt having already made a mistake, so his grand total of 7 points will be at risk. Close to the right hand side, a few of the players go through the reactor boost, loop corkscrew and turnover thing. Yannick's one of the only players that kind of cuts under that little sign there to go onto the wall ride. Doesn't really gain you that much time. I suppose it's more for style points than anything. Edelweiss player showing off for his sponsors, for his fans, no doubt. Maybe I should try that more in matches, guys. Showing off, get me more Twitch followers maybe. Anyway, going through the identity for the first time, and as you can see, we don't see many of the players messing it up as much. This is one of the identities where you will see the players will lose or gain positions depending on how well they perform the identity, not necessarily whether they make it or not. Pack, however, with the best first lap, a 117.3, but as we're on a running lap here, you definitely will see that beat. One player who's certainly getting beaten at the moment there is Spam. He's getting beaten up. He is black and blue as he flies all the way down to the bottom, as does Riolu and Matt, having massive issues. And that is a sad phase for fans of those teams. I'm sure they'll be unhappy chappies. Scrappy and evoN finding themselves at the tail end of this massive group here. Upside down, don't any of you get dizzy, close your eyes and stay with us. But Yannick's making a mistake there. He's going to be having his 11 points be at some form of risk, as the fights are beginning to heat up here for the top 8. We're seeing Afi and Pack up at the front here. Get a nice view of the top half of your field, both on the left hand side on your scoreboard and on track, cutting through the side of the checkpoint there to get the booster. All these players are very, very well versed on these maps, I can assure you guys. Let's see, we do not yet have a hard chat, guys. Let's get it going. Afi has dropped Pack a little bit here. Looks as if Pack's made a little bit of a mistake through the identity. Scrappy and evoN going for some massively different lines there. Scrappy managed to pull out a little bit of a lead here in this 2-horse battle. Down in 11th position here, both him, Scrappy and Bren are finding themselves at risk of losing half of their points. evoN will be the least happy about that, with 8 potential points at risk. Afi though, what a lead so far, half a second ahead. Let's check in with Massa here. There's a 5-man battle so far, and Gwen and Aurel certainly not far behind at all. It's a really close group here, from pretty much second down to 11th here so far. Pretty much only a second, but that's going to extend a little bit as Kappa makes a mistake. He's going to find himself losing some time to some bodies in front. And the positions will part like the Red Sea, except in the wrong direction for Kappa. Czech World Champion certainly will not be happy. He moves down to 11th position, so that means I believe it's Scrappy moves into the top 8 here, but you can see how volatile it is. He's jumping up and down in positions here. Massa moving into 2nd place, and Scrappy actually managed to get your fastest lap going through there, but you can see how close everyone is. Everyone's so close to being in the position of safety. However, you can see here a little bit of a gap forming. Only 0.4 of a second between evoN and Bren. However, both players in danger here. The first half of the map is already gone, so we are in the twilight zone of circles here at the moment. There's only a small gap, but these are some of the best players in the world. Mistakes will not be aplenty. Need to put the hammer down. So Farrell had a few position losses going through that section. Good news is that the top pack is relatively condensed. Good lap here, a good section, and you will be able to catch up by quite an amount. Kappa's also part of this party. Yannick's not too far behind. Looks as if Bren had some issues there, but he had a little bit of a better downhill. Massa's also fallen a little bit further down. Gwen finding himself in the danger positions for the first time in a while. evoN with a different line here from Bren, but Bren will be able to reinitiate back in through there, and you see him catching back up a little bit, but the gap is going down a bit here. 0.3 of a second now, and Gwen makes a mistake. One of the riskiest players in the league. Did just go a little bit too close to the inside there, but a sloppy section from evoN means some good work has been undone. 9th position here, and Kappa is bearing down. You see him closing in as the Czech player. Will have a lower jump as he's at less speed will evoN have, so the speed is negated a little bit. We've got a lap and a half essentially left here. Lap 5 out of 6, but the gap is extending a little bit in front. Oh, and Kappa's looking to make this battle for the top 8 that little bit more spicy here. Oh, and a no slide there from evoN. It is in a low speed section, so you shouldn't lose as much time. But we'll take a look from Kappa's perspective here to get the bird's eye view and seeing if anyone's going to be making mistakes here. We have 1 lap to go now as we finish lap 5 out of 6 here. Let's have a look. You see Afi in the lead, Massa up to 5th position now, but Papu and Carl Jr. in the top 3, but the whole top 8 is covered by a blanket of 1 second. So some of these players who may be feeling like they have to risk a little bit here, get that extra point or two. So mistakes definitely can happen. Let's see if they do though. Bren's going to lose some speed, but is he going to lose enough for Kappa to catch up? He's already overtaken, so that's 1 down. Aurel also having some issues here, and Kappa finds himself in the top 8. Yannick makes a mistake, and Gwen finds himself moving a little bit up here along with evoN here, so it might not be over just yet. Anyone else crashes, and it's going to essentially be between Gwen and evoN here. It's going to come into the final section so far. The identity for the last time you can see here, Gwen is going all out to catch up with Bren here. The 2 Frenchmen going toe to toe, but Bren makes a mistake. Is everyone going to survive the final part of the identity? Will Gwen be in absolute bliss here? He falls off! He falls off, and evoN manages to get into the point. Kappa also makes a mistake and he survives. 7th position for evoN right at the very end, and it has been clutched out for Team Secret. It was about time we had some luck coming home with us. We've kept our points for map number 3 out of 6. We'll be counting our lucky stars there. That's what we like to see. evoN no doubt will be kicking himself there. Yannick and Bren making massive mistakes at the end there. Donations going to whoever got the voodoo dolls out there. And as such, 23 points now from the first 3 maps, and that is a great points lead so far in step 5. We now move on to Bumpy Jumpy, map number 4 out of 6, ladies and gentlemen. Get a little bit of a breather. Pat yourselves on the back for giving some top quality support. And we will have Bumpy Jumpy by Tona. But let's see how this would overall affect the standings here. So, the main positions which you'll be looking at for our battle here will be 8th down to 12th here. You see now, evoN is that little bit closer to Kappa. Also, Aurel and Scrappy that little bit closer. 11th position so far. 65 points, but now in the points lost stages here, this is where the big differences could come. Example, if Kappa was to lose his 20 points here, that would put Aurel, Scrappy ahead, and also evoN within touching distance. This is going to be an interesting map here though. This is one of the maps where it's a little bit more simple to drive on your own rather than with a group of players. as the identity is very much based on keeping your calm and keeping your nerves. Some very, very fine inputs needed as you're going through a bunch of choke points here in the identity, which Matt is just bringing us to at the moment, or he's trying. Jumping through some little tree gaps here. If you miscalculate it, you will become a lumberjack, or you will be impaled in a tree. Depends how strong the tree is, I suppose. But I sell a drink of water, recharged and refueled. Let's move into map number 4 out of 6. Let's get a heart check. We've not got one yet, guys. Don't let me down. Let's keep it going. Let's get some support going in. Sure, we deserve it after clutching it out in map number 3 out of 6. Let's see what we can do in 4 out of 6 here. Starting off in a long ice section there. Now moving on to the red stuff, the clay. I see someone already dropping down there. That might have been Gwen. One of the Frenchies at least, but I say that as if that's like a rare occurrence. Spam and Gwen actually dropping down early. Bumpy Jumpy is a little bit more of a difficult track here. Technical, and especially in these sections. Using some techniques such as Neo Slides, which we do not see normally in Trackmania Grand League. Neo Slide is just a specific technique used to enable your car to drift, going through low speed corners or going through angles which your car does not normally slide at. And currently a lot of the pack is spread out already, especially at the bottom, with some mistakes already being made. But the first time going through the identity, we'll stick with TMGL here. Let's see if everyone makes it through cleanly. The first jump, no problem. Tween's so close to the pole there, and he makes the mistake, so he's the first to fall. Scrappy and Afe so far were the only ones to really be shaky through there. Pink making them stink. At the moment, this top group surviving. Only players making mistakes through the identity. We're seeing pack down. 48 points are going to be going straight down the hole. Tween also having some issues here. He's one of the players that really needed to bank a lot of points so far. We see Kappa here being at the bottom end of this group. Let's see if they all make it through this section. Then a long slide to the left and a neo drift through here. Everyone makes it through cleanly here, and we're seeing TMGL fighting in the top 3 here. There's no rest in the pursuit of greatness here for Team Secret. Wen gets a little bit of an awkward exit going through this section. And we're seeing here a little bit of a breakout group here. We'll check it from TMGL's perspective here. The top 4, a little bit of an awkward exit there for TMGL. Didn't get a lot of speed out of that dirt section. Now his position's at risk. Oh, very uncomfortable there. Fully clenched. But Massa's going to be the one going straight down there, all the way out. I believe he actually flipped upside down, but 4th position is still Team Secret's here at the moment. A lot of speed going through there for TMGL. Means he overtakes Carl Jr. as he's going for a ride. Gwen falls down. It's parting like the Red Sea in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a Bible story though. However, we can hopefully power TMGL through with some faith. Finding himself fighting now for the top and overtakes Papu for the lead. Team Secret's TMGL is currently in first place here. Better hear some go TMGLs in the chat. Better hear the crowd chanting his name. Potentially maximum points here with the exception of the fastest lap. This is a much better performance here from TMGL than we saw last week on Bumpy Jumpy. A lot of speed coming out here from Papu, though you can see the difference in approach from both players. Papu has overtaken the lead going over this identity and is looking to keep it here. Both players make it through cleanly and have made it through the first half of this track cleanly. Aurel looking to strike back here, and a little bit of a different approach coming from the players. Looks like TMGL is now the one losing some speed and losing some time, and Carl Jr. trying to strike back with some deja vu here. But we have been in this place before, ladies and gentlemen. Position 3 is now Carl Jr. so far, however, being outdone a little bit here by the younger man is Carl Jr. There is a new kid on the block, ladies and gentlemen. And he is going toe-to-toe with the best there was, the best there is, and the best there ever will be. And it's not Bret Hart. However, you can see here, Pac at the moment, another interesting storyline here, was 5 seconds behind at the start, just to remind you guys. Also Kappa with a lot of points on the line here. Massa and Tween in danger so far. Let's check from this perspective if anyone's going to be making mistakes. Looking clean. Afe maybe getting a little bit of squeaky bum time. And now we're seeing the Pac has caught up to evoN here a little bit. Fighting now in 5th. Looks as if he's losing some time going through that little section. However, does make it up and will catch up with both catch up with Gwen going through this section. Nevertheless, keeping points through these maps is the most important part, is the name of the game. Oh, very close in the inside drift there with both evoN and evoN. However, very smooth coming through there. Aurel messed it up a little bit and as such does lose a position. 4th place now, going back to Team Secret. Papu first, Carl Jr. second, and Gwen third so far. I believe that was Spam and Afe losing some significant positions and points going through there. evoN did manage to pull that off much more cleanly going through there. Well, 4th position stay has coming through this identity for the penultimate time here. Oh, very close going through there. It makes my heart flutter, butterflies in my stomach, but I survive and evoN survives. Now the closest in the fight is Scrappy and Aurel here, who are both side by side. 5th and 6th position here being what they're going blow for blow on. There's a 1 second gap back to another close fight here between Yannex and Brent. One of these players is going to need to make mistakes for any of those to catch up in the red spots, as Massa being the closest half a second behind. evoN now in danger of losing some spots here, but so close to the inside. But he has to respawn. How many positions is he going to lose? He's going to lose a lot of them. He's now finding himself in the red. Just cut himself a little bit too close on that downhill there and will find himself in danger here. Needs to overtake 2 people. Needs to overtake Spam and hope someone makes a mistake in the identity. Will it happen once again? There's some good speed going through here, but it's going to need another miracle coming through in Bumpy Jumpy, or else 12 points are going to be going down the hole. Very close to the inside, but looks as if most people are making it through cleanly, and they do, and that's going to be points lost for evoN at the very end there. Papu, Gwen and Aurel complete a French trifecta up at the top. Carl Jr. actually fell down a little bit at the ending there, but that is going to be evoN losing a little bit of points there, down to what I believe would be about 16 points here or something like that, as we move on to the final map section. However, let's check where the point standings are after this. We see Aurel in the lead, Papu, Carl Jr., Gwen, Pac, Scrappy, Afe and Yannex being your top 8. So Team Secret have been evicted, however are very close behind with 17 points and 10th position. So the story is not yet over, ladies and gentlemen. Still finding 11th position overall in the in the league, pardon me. But while we're having a little bit of a warm-up here, we're going to check out with evoN. Have a little bit of an interview here to get his thoughts on this step so far and see how he feels after making such a mistake. One second while I make sure he is good to go. Making sure I'm good to go as it's connecting. Hello evoN, apologies, just having a little bit of connection issues there, but I mean, so far I suppose an up and down start to step 5. Give us your thoughts so far.
I mean, first map went really well. I played really safe, got third place.
Mm-hmm.
Second map, well, I was feeling really shaky at the ice slide.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm still fine with 12. I think I got 12th, right?
Yeah, you're 11th
Third,
overall at the moment.
yeah, but on that map,
Oh
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
second map.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, third map, I don't know, I was pretty slow. I did make that no slide mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky that someone choked the end, I think.
Oh yeah, two people choked the end. You should have seen the chat went absolutely bananas there. That was great to see. But give us your thoughts on the rest of the step. Of course, we've got two new maps in, and two maps which we're seeing some players having quite some difficulty with.
I don't know. I didn't put that much practice like last week, but I still feel really comfortable on them. I have some good times on them. Yeah, they're really good maps. Gonna be really close. I don't think the gaps are gonna be big, just like on circles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. I hope I can finally keep my points.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I mean, I suppose we're kind of in a little bit of the same position we were last week. So hopefully some deja vu coming in a good way in a sense where we get a good points haul, but hopefully keeping them through the last two maps. And if you're feeling comfortable on them, then as we've seen from you before, you've managed to get some great times, some great positions in maps that you're comfortable on. So definitely looking forward to it. But are you satisfied at the very least so far? I mean, 17 points considering, as you'd said yourself, you didn't have as much time this week.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I just kind of, I don't know, that mistake on the last map. I was thinking to save the jump because I saw that I was like 2 seconds ahead, but I just went for it. That was probably the bad choice.
Yeah, well, I mean, mistakes happen, as I suppose everyone has had the experience of, and if you don't go for it, I suppose you're never going to know if what you can get from it. But it's okay. Everyone, I'm sure, forgives you, and we're just looking forward to see what you're capable of in the last two maps. But we'll let you get prepared. 2.5 minutes left to go, and we'll check in with you when all's said and done. Ladies and gentlemen, that was TMGL. Well, we're getting ready for the final maps here, and just to take a quick look at the step ranking overall, we're once again seeing, I suppose, familiar faces down here in the bottom two. We're seeing Matt and Riolu down at the bottom on 4 and 7 points respectively. Tween and Spam joint 13th on 10 points. Cap on 13 points on 12th position. TMGL and Bren joint 10th on 17. Yannick's just ahead along with Massa and joint 8th on 18. Afi 1 point ahead as well, so very close between all of those players on 19 points in 7th. And the players who have kept the most amount of points, kept a decent bank balance so far. We've got Scrappy on 27, Pack on 28, Gwen on 30, Carl Jr. 33, Papu 38 and Aurel on 40. So I suppose a little bit of a good thing that we've not seen any straight domination so far in this step. It's definitely competitive here. I'll get my volumes back up for you guys. But definitely not the same kind of domination we've seen before, say Papu taking a lot of points home or Carl Jr. taking a lion's share of points. However, we're coming into the stage of the game where everything is decided. We have 1 minute left on Glacier hiking as one of the new maps, and as of course one of the real danger maps. Of course, all points will be lost here if you do finish in the bottom 8. As a little bit of a peculiar identity here, once again using a lot of reactor boosts and ice sections here. I suppose that's the identity of Trackmania Grand League this season. However, a lot of elevation change here, it must be said, as well, as TMGL nearly flies into the checkpoint. But the identity coming up here, there is a downwards reactor boost. Now normally if you're just to fly over it in a straight line, you will still have to deal with the ice, but the players do use a little bit of a technique to make sure that they essentially take the full reactor boost, which will allow them to avoid the ice altogether. To make the identity significantly easier for them. So that's what you're going to be seeing from pretty much all of the players. You might see some go all or nothing for an extra point or two there, or if they are in the danger positions, but other than that, a relatively simple map with exception of the grass slalom in the middle to go for as well. So Let's see what the players have in store for us. But I want to see what you guys have in store for me, and I hope that's more GoEvoN in the chat, some more support. We'll get our love heart finally, guys, I'm sure of it. We'll get the crowd cheering our name, and hopefully we will propel evoN to some more points. But we are going to get started off here, and we are going to move into map number 5 out of 6, the penultimate map of the penultimate step here. And starting off strongly, as I said, relatively easy map, with exception of the few sections I was mentioning. Should see the players be able to pull off these turns and sections without much difficulty. Long ice slide here, leading yourself into the first of the sections, which may cause the players some issues. A little street section here, that's what we're talking about with the grass slalom here. You want to make sure that you do not go too much onto the black section on the inside, as you will end up crashing on the floor. That sounds like a really weird thing to say, like tripping over the floor or something. As you see, everyone opting for the same technique going through here. Some players opting for some different ways going through the identity, different ways to go through the slalom. It seems to be it works for everyone. However, so far so good after lap 1. But look at this, Aurel with 40 points potentially being lost here, already 9 seconds behind. Papu 38 points, he's 6 seconds behind. We're seeing Carl Jr. being the closest of the gap without those making mistakes, I would say. 33 points for the Canadian, 13 for Kappa here, down in 12th position. The first of the safeties, I suppose that's a really weird way to say it, but the first of the safeties, we've got Scrappy and Pack fighting it out here, but actually Spam getting himself in the mix here. That is exactly right to say though, because evoN needs players like Kappa, needs players like Aurel to be losing points. Look at this lead so far from Gwen though, he's in another dimension here at the moment from these players. Massa and Brent. Oh, where did Massa go? Did he just crash? Massa has a massive mistake there. He's going to go all the way down to the bottom, and that actually promotes evoN up to 3rd place here, fighting with Tween for these points. But yeah, I mean, Gwen's just absolutely untouchable. 3 laps down. This is a little bit of a shorter circuit here, guys. Only 1 minute maps here, or 1 minute laps here, I should say, sorry. But we do see here the danger zone. Carl Jr. being your first on the chopping block here, but look at the kind of points that are in danger down at the bottom. Papu and Aurel are pretty much finished. Let's see if everyone makes it through the grass slalom. Fine. Scrappy and Spam losing some time here. However, Scrappy's going to stay safe, but Spam certainly won't now, down in 9th position so far. Pack and Afi having a little bit of a battle here, but going into the identity for the 3rd time. Bringing their car to a stop, but evoN flying ahead there and catching up with Tween here now. And the battle for the podium is going to go the way of evoN so far, as Tween makes a mistake somehow on the downhill. I have no idea what happened, but I'm going to chalk it up to magic, because that's the only thing. I suppose that's a kind of Harry Potter excuse, isn't it? If you can't explain it, just say it's magic. Anyway, Yannick and Kappa also now down in some points lost positions here. Afi also having some issues so far. However, podium position so far for Gwen, Bren and evoN so far. I've said so far about 8 times in 10 seconds, guys. Had a long weekend, so don't bully me. But it looks as if Aurel and Papu have lost even more time. And they're going to be having a bad day of it, I reckon. Carl Jr. going for a much lower jump there, and I see Scrappy, he's going to be down and out, he's going to be losing points, almost no doubt. Someone there had an absolute nightmare going through that. I think it was Kappa losing a lot of time, and you see here, oh, that was Carl Jr. I think, very messy going through there, and he's going to be overtaken by Kappa. What battles they've had over the years, but also evoN having some issues with Tween as he's fighting to get himself some decent points here, back onto the podium as Tween. He's beaten there many times in his career, I can assure you guys. Scrappy also one of the players that evoN would be looking at to lose points. We can see here the players directly ahead, Kappa, Scrappy and Aurel. Also Yannick's been one of which you guys should be watching out for. 2 of them in points, 2 of them out of points it looks like so far. evoN though catching up a little bit here to Bren, who is second with the fastest lap. Big jump here, but wait, Gwen's had to respawn here now, but with such a lead, he's actually made another mistake, but just coming up to a slow section should be okay for Gwen to recover. But now that means Bren up to first. Who was that fell? It was Bren falling all the way down. He's going to have to respawn, and now evoN is leading the map here. Maximum potential points so far for evoN, and this is great news here, going into the final lap with a 3/10 lead here over Tween. This is a perfect opportunity here for Team Secret to go into the final map and to go into the final step with a great opportunity to get into the playoff stage here. And could evoN bring it home here? He does have a hell of a challenge coming in with Tween, but will get more speed coming through this ice section. Going through the final lap here, going onto this grass chicane section for the final time in this step. Tween having to release a little bit there as he had a little bit too much lateral motion, but evoN keeping it good, coming through here, will not get as high of a jump here. Gwen also close within half a second here. The identity for the final time, just needs to make it through clean. Oh, he didn't get a lot of speed coming through there. Will Tween manage to catch up? It's so close coming through into the ending. Who made it? evoN made it by thousandths of a second, and he takes home first place. 17 points will turn into 37 after that, and that was a beautiful ending there by Tween and Gwen, but it was not enough to defeat evoN as he does net his first map win of this step. And that is a lot of points lost there for Pac, Papu, Massa, Aurel, Carl Jr., Afi and Bren. But what a result there for Team Secret. That's what we like to see. And where does that now put us? That puts us in a lot better of a position. Second overall in this step. Going into the final map. And that is a well needed points boost there. And let's see where that puts us overall. Going on to Dune here. That puts us in 10th position, having overtaken Aurel, who lost all of his points there. And now within, I believe that is 25 points of 8th position. And Massa not too far ahead either. So now he's been brought into this battle. The final map though, this is the one the players would have put the most time into. If Scrappy loses his points, or Kappa loses his points here, then their positions will be usurped by evoN, that is to be sure. Riolu, however, also one who's been struggling for points, finding himself on 14 at the moment. Yannick's one of the same, 26 points so far. That's a lot of names down in the bottom 8, which we don't normally see there. However, this map, once again, utilising a lot of reactor boosts here, a lot of grass sections, a lot of dirt sections. It's a very technical circuit. I'm definitely expecting some mistakes here from some players. Question is who will be able to survive, who will be able to exit map 6 with points intact. We certainly hope it's going to be evoN. Let's get the go evoNs in the chat for the last 20 seconds of the warm-up, guys. All the support we can muster. This is when he's going to need it most. This is the identity. Many reactor boosts here coming through into some grass slides. Or bug slides, whatever you call them, I don't know. And that is your identity here. So, a little bit of an obscure technique. I'm sure you guys have seen it here now. But here we go for the final time. In step number 5, we're going for a step lapper, for a 6 lapper here. Let's see if evoN starting this step in second position can improve on, or at least keep the points he has managed to gain so far. This is when push comes to shove. This is the meat and potatoes time, as I believe Geek once told me. It is injury time. Are we going to see golden goals? Maybe going right down to penalties, who knows? The important thing is keeping your cool in an environment like this though. We see a lot of players making mistakes in identities, and I'm sure this map will certainly be no different. Consistency is the name of the game. Going through for the first time into this reactor boost section over the grass. No big mistakes from the players so far. A big long train here. Some players so close to clipping the CP on the outside there. Long right hand drift here again. Some different approaches with players looking for more speed going on to the dirt. But it looks as if evoN gets a nice exit there. Claims a few positions. Now going into this side jump here on the dirt and onto the identity for the first time. Let's see any different approaches. Let's see any fails, any wins. I see some players going off a little bit too much of an angle there. And everyone making it through relatively clean. evoN touches on the outside, but as it's a reactor boost, he will keep a good amount of speed. Finding himself in 13th position so far, with Pack and Relu being the ones having made a big mistake here. And now, going into lap number 2, currently 13th position and currently in danger is evoN. Let's check up here with the top pack here. A little bit of a gap now down to evoN. See if we can scout out any mistakes. Matt performing well, or I say that just because he's not crashed so far maybe, which is a bit of a feels bad man, but still. A big group of players here. Kappa performing very well and he certainly needs it. Ooh, Spam very close to the upper side there. Is surviving though are all these players. The identity is definitely waiting right around the corner to ambush the players, mug them of their points. Mug them of their hopes and dreams. But everyone here behind is relatively close up. Back to Aurel, only 1.5 seconds behind. Let's check from his perspective, see if we'll be able to scout out any mistakes. I'm seeing Yannick's going down into the red here. He is still on track though. Was that a respawn I saw maybe? Oh, Yannick's falling, Tween falling. Spam also having some issues here. He flips upside down. That's disaster for Spam. He's falling all the way back. Tween's down. He's upside down. He doesn't know what's happening. Disaster there for the Slovakian. And already evoN is up to 9th position and looking in great place to keep his points so far. As you can see here, down in 13th position, there is a 7-second gap up to the next player. And now it's going to be a fight for evoN, not only to keep these points, but to see what kind of points can be gained here. But in a position of his, when you've got so many points gained so far in this step, you've got to be thinking what you can do to keep those points instead of focusing on those that can be gained. But on the other side of things, he has a few points to make up on those in front in the standings. Any little will help. There's a little bit of a gap behind him here with 0.8 of a second back to Aurel and a 1.5 seconds back to Carl Jr. here. And only Yannick's in the next group will really be able to challenge here. Everyone else is too far behind. But going into this identity for the next time, let's see if everyone makes it clean. That was Matt making a mistake. Papu flying off into the distance. Aurel now coming back into this battle. Bren making a mistake. That was a bit shaky there from evoN, but he'll find himself in the top 8 no matter what. But Carl Jr. is now on the charge here. He is on the hunt. The predator of Trackmania Grand League. But slow and steady might just win him the race here. He needs to hope some players in front make some mistakes to give him a bit of breathing room, I would reckon here though. Carl Jr., you certainly do not want hunting you down with no buffer zone to worry. Carl Jr. has absolutely nothing to lose at the moment. He has 4 points to speak of. That's certainly not something I'm used to saying. However, Tween and Yannick's both losing points here. That is good news for the challenge on evoN's positions. However, hunting down those in front of him, he's going to need the players in front to make a mistake. Aurel, Scrappy, Massa, Kappa. He does not want these players gaining on him, potentially limiting the points that he can steal from their lead on him. However, coming through the identity for 4 out of 6 times. Let's see how we make it this time. Very nice through the first one. Afe making a mistake. That's so scary. However, up to 7th here is evoN. 6th even. That was a beautiful section there from evoN. That's what we like to see. And now that is a lot of positions being lost, and Afi finding himself in 7th now. But beautiful for evoN, and this is now the buffer zone that we needed, that we were talking about here. However, most of those in front of him are people he will need to overtake to get into the playoffs overall. But let's stick with him here going through the penultimate lap. Papu so far with the fastest lap, however he's finding himself in 11th position here. Far too far behind, but who was that? Who was that had fell behind there? Did someone disconnect? What's happened? Yannick's is disconnected, oh no! Once again Yannick's is disconnected, that's terrible news there for him. We never like to see a player falling and losing points like that. And that's bad news. 26 points going to be going down, and that's going to be Yannick's hopes of a playoff stage pretty much in the gutters now. However, penultimate time of this identity for the penultimate step. Tell I like that word, guys. Oh, Scrappy making a mistake though. He's going to be losing a lot of speed. Oh, Massa also getting it a little bit scary here, but evoN nailing it in these last few. Scrappy will be able to survive here. He has Bren and Matt bearing down on him, but luckily for Scrappy with a nice big gap behind him going into the final lap though. This looks fantastic so far for evoN. He has a massive gap going all the way down to his closest rival to lock out his points, which is Papu in 9th. Carl Jr. and Afi have both made mistakes. The question just is now, how much can be gained from step number 5? And it's certainly going to be a hell of a lot. This is exactly what the doctor ordered, besides an apple a day. Kappa so far in first position here. The player who was making the advocate for most training the final map and essentially just getting all of your points from there. But Gwen, Massa rounding out the podium so far, Aurel 4th and evoN 5th going into the identity for I believe what will of course be the final time. This long kind of lateral jump here. However, being at the very end, we still might see some mistakes coming out from some players here. Looks as if Matt's made a mistake down in 8th position. Let's see evoN making it through here clean, hopefully. First one down, second one down, easy as you like. 5th place is going home with Team Secret. There we go. Great result there for Team Secret's evoN. Kappa winning the map. And that will be Gwen winning the step. Aurel 3rd, Massa 4th, evoN 5th, Bren 6th, Papu 7th, Carl Jr. 8th as Scrappy lost all of his points right at the ending there. Afi falling all the way down. Spam, Matt, Tween, Riolu, Pack and Yannick's will also see their points going straight down the hole. Pack will gain no points from this step, but that is great news for evoN's hopes for great points and positions going into this. And now after this step ranking, you will see Gwen first on 58, evoN second with a monumental 46 points, Kappa third with 46, but let's see, massive gap down to Aurel in 16, Massa 13, Bren 13, Papu 12, Carl Jr 10, Scrappy 5, Afi 5, Spam and Matt on 4, Tween and Riolu on 3, and Pack and Yannick's on 0. But that puts us up to 9th position, ladies and gentlemen. 88 points so far, with an 18 point gap back to the closest opponent, which is Aurel, and that puts us within 19 points of both Spam and Massa, and also I believe that is 26 points up to Kappa. So that is essentially 3 people that are in danger of losing their positions to evoN, who is the closest opponent. And what a result so far there. And going into step number 6 with a great opportunity is evoN. So we'll check in with him for a final time this evening and see how he feels after a fantastic result in step number 5. So I get the feeling after that you're feeling maybe a slight bit better, would I say?
Maybe.
Maybe just a little bit. Talk us through the last 2 maps. How did they feel for you?
Well, that first one I had no idea. Like I played just really safe, didn't do any mistakes. I was feeling really shaky in training a little bit. I was doing many mistakes,
Hmm.
but well, that was really sick. And I'm happy to win a map in TMGL. That's pretty good. The second map was really shaky. Identity sometimes didn't went that good for me. But yeah, in the end, I finished, and yeah, I'm really shaking right now.
Yeah, for sure, man. And this puts us into ninth position overall. I mean, we went into this with top two people here, both Aurel and Scrappy, and got a decent points gap. That's 18 points on your closest opponent. But the most important part, you have three players within essentially 26 points in the next step, and that's easily doable. How are you feeling for the last step and your playoff chances overall?
Well, I'm happy I got this amount of points. And yeah, obviously, I don't have pressure, but yeah, I'll try my hardest. I now definitely know that I can perform extremely well, and yeah, we're gonna see. But yeah, I'm gonna try my hardest.
For sure, and that's what we love to hear. Of course, one of the players which we have kind of put synonymously with putting in the most effort we can see is yourself, of course. Just the consistency is seeming to get there, though. I mean, compared to the start of the season, how are you feeling now? Do you feel like you've progressed any as a player going throughout this season so far?
Yeah, definitely. I did learn a lot, also through the first season. But I don't know. I did learn a lot, and yeah, I feel really comfortable now. I don't have that much pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely, as I've been saying to pretty much everyone throughout the course of today's stream, I mean, you have been putting in a much better overall performance. I mean, we were speaking in step one back when I was casting with Eirik about how we recognised you as a player who had a lot of potential, however, was having the issues with putting it all together on track. But it's definitely looking more this season where you're starting to put all the pieces of the puzzle back together, and definitely within more than capable distance of the playoffs. So, I mean, you said you weren't able to put in as much time this week. How's the schedule looking for step number 6? Do you reckon you'll be able to put in the hours?
Yeah, I will be able to.
That's what we like to hear. The chat's been cheering you on all throughout this step, through some heartbreaks, through some butt clenching, especially in, I believe it was map number 4, and through the highs as well, through the last two maps. Fantastic performance, I must say, through this step, and definitely can hold your head high. But I'll let you go and savour the victory and enjoy the rest of your night, man.
Thanks, man.
But guys, that is TeMGL and that is Team Secret's step number 5, all going to plan, guys. The support you put in the chat was once again fantastic. Thank you everyone for joining today. I hope you all had a spectacular evening joining me along with this roller coaster which we enjoyed with its ups and downs. I hope the rest of you enjoy next week as much as this week. We're going to hopefully see TeMGL booking his position in the grand finals. I hope to see you guys along with me for the ride there. You'll see at the same time, the same place over at Team Secret channel as we see. If you want to follow me over at TM Scotsman, feel free to do so, and I'll hope you see you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of your night. Bye bye.